Most people over 50 are constantly searching for ways to reduce leg pain and strengthen their weakened muscles. But what doctors rarely tell you is that certain fruits you eat daily could be the hidden culprit behind your chronic leg discomfort, muscle weakness, and those frustrating nights when your calves cramp up without warning. This isn't just about avoiding sugar. It's about understanding how your aging body after 50 processes specific compounds found in everyday fruits that can silently inflame your leg muscles, restrict blood flow to your lower extremities, and even accelerate the muscle deterioration that leaves you feeling unsteady and weak when walking upstairs or standing for extended periods. The truth is, your body at 50 and beyond doesn't metabolize food the same way it did in your 30s and 40s. Your circulation has naturally slowed, your muscle mass has begun to decline, and your ability to process certain sugars and compounds has become less efficient. When you combine this natural aging process with the wrong fruit choices, you create a perfect storm of inflammation, poor circulation, and muscle weakness that manifests as persistent leg pain, nighttime cramps, heavy-feeling legs, and that constant fatigue that makes simple activities like grocery shopping or walking around the block feel exhausting. In this comprehensive guide, you'll discover the 6 fruits that are secretly sabotaging your leg health after 50, and more importantly, what you should be eating instead to restore strength, reduce pain, and regain the confidence to move freely, without constantly worrying about your legs giving out. These aren't exotic fruits or rare foods. They're common fruits sitting in your kitchen right now, fruits you've been told are healthy, fruits that might be in your daily smoothie or afternoon snack routine. Pineapple. The tropical leg pain. Trigger fresh pineapple seems like the perfect healthy snack. It's sweet, refreshing, and packed with vitamin C and enzymes that are supposed to reduce inflammation. But here's what nobody tells you about pineapple consumption after 50. This tropical fruit contains an enzyme called bromelain. And while bromelain is often marketed as anti-inflammatory, for many adults over 50, especially those already dealing with leg pain and muscle weakness, pineapple can actually trigger more inflammation and discomfort than it prevents. The problem starts with pineapple's incredibly high sugar content. 1 cup of fresh pineapple chunks contains approximately 18 grams of natural sugar, primarily in the form of fructose and glucose. When you're dealing with already compromised circulation, which is common after 50, this sugar surge hits your bloodstream rapidly, causing your blood vessels to constrict and reducing the efficient flow of oxygen-rich blood to your leg muscles. This process, called glycation, occurs when excess sugar in your bloodstream binds to proteins in your blood vessel walls, making them stiff and less flexible. For your legs, this means reduced circulation, which translates to that heavy, tired feeling you get after walking even short distances. Your calf muscles don't receive adequate oxygen, your thigh muscles fatigue more quickly, and those nagging aches in your shins and feet become more pronounced. The worst part is that this happens gradually. You might not connect your afternoon pineapple snack to the leg discomfort you feel hours later or the next morning. But the sugar content isn't the only concern. Pineapple is also highly acidic, with a pH level between 3.2 and 4.0. This acidity can disrupt your body's natural pH balance, and when your system becomes too acidic, it creates an environment where inflammation thrives. Your leg muscles, already under stress from age-related changes, become more susceptible to pain and stiffness. The joints in your knees, ankles, and hips may ache more frequently, and you might notice increased morning stiffness that takes longer to work out. The bromelain enzyme, while beneficial in controlled therapeutic doses, can also be problematic when consumed regularly in whole fruit form. Bromelain can interfere with blood clotting mechanisms, which might sound beneficial, but for older adults, especially those on blood-thinning medications or dealing with circulation issues, this can create unpredictable effects on blood flow to the extremities. Some people experience increased bruising, particularly in their legs, or notice that minor bumps and scrapes take longer to heal. Additionally, the natural sugars in pineapple can contribute to systemic inflammation through a process called glycation, where sugar molecules attach to proteins in your bloodstream and create harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These AGEs accumulate in your muscles, tendons, and joints over time, contributing to stiffness, pain, and reduced mobility, exactly what you're trying to avoid. If you're experiencing unexplained leg cramps, especially at night, increased joint, stiffness in your knees or ankles, that heavy, tired feeling in your legs after minimal activity, or notice that your legs feel weaker when climbing stairs, your pineapple consumption might be contributing to these symptoms. The solution isn't necessarily to eliminate pineapple completely, but to drastically reduce your intake and be more strategic about when and how you consume it. Oranges, the citrus circulation saboteur. Oranges have been the poster child for healthy eating for decades. They're packed with vitamin C, they're natural, and they seem like the perfect choice for someone trying to eat better and support their overall health. But for adults over 50, struggling with leg pain, muscle weakness, and circulation issues, oranges can be surprisingly counterproductive to your goals of stronger, pain-free legs. The first issue with oranges is their sugar content and how it affects your blood sugar stability. One medium orange contains about 15 grams of sugar, and while this might seem moderate compared to other fruits, the way your body processes this sugar after 50 can create significant problems for your leg health. When you eat an orange, especially on an empty stomach or as a standalone snack, your blood sugar rises quickly. This rapid rise triggers a corresponding insulin response, and for many adults over 50, this insulin response is no longer as efficient as it once was. This inefficient insulin response means that sugar stays in your bloodstream longer than it should, and elevated blood sugar levels have a direct impact on your circulation. High blood sugar makes your blood thicker and more viscous, which means your heart has to work harder to pump blood through your system. The smaller blood vessels in your legs, feet, and toes are particularly affected by this increased viscosity, receiving less oxygen and nutrients than they need to function properly. The result is that familiar, heavy, tired feeling in your legs, increased cramping, and reduced endurance when walking or standing. Your calf muscles might feel tight and uncomfortable, your feet might feel cold or tingly, and you might notice that your legs feel weaker during activities that used to be effortless. But there's another, less obvious problem with oranges that specifically affects leg health: their potassium to magnesium ratio. While oranges are often praised for their potassium content, they're relatively low in magnesium. This mineral imbalance can be particularly problematic for adults over 50 because magnesium deficiency is already common in this age group due to reduced absorption, medication interactions, and dietary factors. Magnesium is absolutely crucial for proper muscle function, especially in your legs. It helps regulate muscle contractions, supports nerve function, and plays a vital role in energy production within your muscle cells. When you consistently consume high potassium, low magnesium foods like oranges, you can inadvertently worsen an existing magnesium deficiency, leading to increased muscle cramps, particularly in your calves and feet, muscle weakness, and that annoying restless leg feeling that can keep you awake at night. The citric acid in oranges presents another challenge for some adults over 50. While citric acid can be beneficial in small amounts, regular consumption of high-acid fruits like oranges can contribute to systemic inflammation, particularly in people who are already dealing with inflammatory conditions or have a diet high in processed foods. This increased inflammation can manifest as joint pain, muscle stiffness, and reduced mobility, exactly the opposite of what you want for your leg health. Grapes, the deceptive circulation disruptor. Grapes appear to be the perfect healthy snack. They're small, sweet, convenient, and you've probably heard about their antioxidant properties and heart-healthy benefits from compounds like resveratrol. But for adults over 50 dealing with leg pain, muscle weakness, and circulation problems, grapes can be one of the most deceptive foods in your diet, quietly undermining your efforts to maintain strong, pain-free legs while disguising themselves as a virtuous choice. The fundamental problem with grapes lies in their concentrated sugar content and how rapidly that sugar enters your bloodstream. A single cup of grapes contains approximately 23 grams of sugar, mostly in the form of glucose and fructose, and, because grapes are small and easy to eat mindlessly, most people consume far more than a single cup in one sitting. Unlike fruits with significant fiber content that slow sugar absorption, grapes offer minimal fiber resistance, meaning their sugar hits your system fast and hard. For adults over 50, this rapid sugar influx creates a cascade of problems that directly impact leg health. When blood sugar spikes quickly, your blood vessels respond by constricting, reducing the efficient flow of oxygen-rich blood to your extremities. Your legs, being the furthest from your heart, are particularly vulnerable to these circulation disruptions. The immediate result might be barely noticeable, but over time, this repeated pattern of blood, sugar spikes and circulation restriction contributes to the chronic leg fatigue, muscle weakness, and persistent aches that many people over 50 experience. The vascular impact goes deeper than just temporary circulation reduction. Repeated blood. Sugar spikes cause what's called endothelial dysfunction, damage to the inner lining of your blood vessels. This damage makes your blood vessels less flexible and responsive, reducing their ability to dilate when your leg muscles need increased blood flow during activity. This is why you might notice that your legs feel heavy and tired more quickly than they used to, why climbing stairs leaves you feeling winded and weak, or why standing for extended periods becomes increasingly uncomfortable. Grapes also contain natural compounds called tannins, and while these can have health benefits in moderation, regular consumption of high tannin foods can contribute to inflammation in sensitive individuals. For adults over 50 who may already be dealing with low-grade chronic inflammation, a common factor in age-related muscle weakness and joint pain, the additional inflammatory load from daily grape consumption can tip the scales toward increased discomfort and reduced mobility. The fructose content in grapes presents another significant challenge. Unlike glucose, which can be used immediately by your muscles for energy, fructose must be processed by your liver before it can be converted into usable energy. For adults over 50, liver function naturally becomes less efficient, and when you overwhelm your liver with fructose from foods like grapes, it can't process it effectively. The result is that much of that fructose gets converted to fat, particularly visceral fat, around your midsection, but also inflammatory compounds that circulate through your bloodstream and contribute to muscle pain and stiffness. This process is particularly problematic for leg health because visceral fat produces inflammatory cytokines that directly affect muscle function and circulation. These inflammatory compounds can make your leg muscles more prone to cramping, reduce their strength and endurance, and contribute to that persistent achiness that seems to have no clear cause. Many adults over 50 consume grapes as an afternoon snack or evening treat, often while watching television or reading. This timing is particularly problematic because your body's insulin sensitivity naturally decreases later in the day, making you more susceptible to the negative effects of sugar spikes. Eating grapes in the evening can also disrupt your sleep quality, not just because of the sugar, but because poor blood sugar control is linked to restless leg syndrome and nighttime muscle cramps. If you're experiencing increased leg cramps, especially at night, a heavy or tired feeling in your legs after minimal activity, increased joint stiffness in your knees or ankles, or notice that your legs feel weaker when standing up from a seated Position: your grape consumption might be contributing to these symptoms more than you realize. Cherries. The sweet sleep saboteur. Cherries have gained significant attention in recent years for their natural melatonin content and supposed sleep-promoting properties, making them a popular evening snack for adults over 50 who struggle with sleep quality. Additionally, cherries are often recommended for their anti-inflammatory properties, particularly for people dealing with joint pain and muscle discomfort. However, for many adults over 50 experiencing leg pain, muscle weakness, and circulation issues, cherries can actually worsen these problems while disrupting the very sleep they're supposed to improve. The primary concern with cherries is their extremely high sugar content relative to their size. Sweet cherries contain approximately 20 grams of sugar per cup, while even tart cherries contain around 17 grams. This sugar is primarily in the form of fructose and glucose. And because cherries are small and delicious, it's incredibly easy to consume multiple cups in a single sitting without realizing the massive sugar load you're putting on your system. For adults over 50, this sugar concentration creates immediate and long-term problems for leg health. When you consume a large amount of cherry sugar, your blood glucose levels spike rapidly, triggering a corresponding insulin response. However, after age 50, your body's insulin sensitivity naturally decreases, meaning your cells don't respond to insulin as effectively as they once did. This leads to prolonged elevated blood sugar levels, which directly impact circulation to your legs. Elevated blood sugar makes your blood more viscous and sticky, forcing your heart to work harder to pump blood through your system. The small capillaries in your legs, feet, and toes are particularly affected by this increased blood viscosity. They receive less oxygen and nutrients, leading to that familiar, heavy, tired feeling in your legs, increased susceptibility to cramping, and reduced endurance during activities like walking or standing. The timing of cherry consumption often makes these problems worse. Many people eat cherries in the evening, hoping to benefit from their natural melatonin content for better sleep. However, consuming high-sugar foods before bed can actually disrupt sleep quality through blood sugar fluctuations. Your blood sugar might spike initially, then crash several hours later, causing you to wake up feeling restless, with cramping legs, or experiencing that uncomfortable, restless leg sensation that makes it difficult to fall back asleep. This sleep disruption creates a vicious cycle for leg health. Poor sleep quality directly impacts muscle recovery and repair, reduces your body's ability to manage inflammation, and decreases your overall energy levels. When you're not sleeping well, your legs feel weaker during the day. You're more prone to muscle fatigue, and you may find yourself avoiding physical activity, which further contributes to muscle weakness and circulation problems. The fructose content in cherries presents additional challenges for adults over 50. Fructose metabolism becomes less efficient with age, and when your liver is overwhelmed with fructose from foods like cherries, it can't process it effectively. Instead of being converted to immediate energy, much of this fructose is converted to fat, particularly inflammatory, visceral fat that produces compounds directly linked to muscle pain and reduced mobility. Cherries also contain natural compounds called anthocyanins, which give them their deep red color and are often cited for their anti-inflammatory properties. However, for some adults over 50, particularly those with sensitive digestive systems or existing inflammatory conditions, these compounds can actually trigger increased inflammation rather than reducing it. This can manifest as increased joint stiffness, muscle aches, and that general feeling of discomfort that makes movement less appealing. Before we continue with more fruits that might be sabotaging your leg health, I want to pause here and ask you something important. If you've been dealing with unexplained leg pain, nighttime cramps, or that heavy, tired feeling in your legs, and you're wondering if your diet might be playing a role, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Share which of these fruits you eat regularly. You might be surprised to discover a connection you never considered. And if this information is already opening your eyes to potential dietary triggers for your leg discomfort, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because we're just getting started, and the information coming up could be the key to finally understanding why your legs have been holding you back from living the active, pain-free life you deserve. Bananas, the potassium paradox. Bananas are perhaps the most universally accepted, healthy fruit, recommended by everyone from doctors to fitness trainers to nutritionists. They're convenient, affordable, and packed with potassium, which is often cited as beneficial for muscle function and heart health. However, for adults over 50 struggling with leg pain, muscle weakness, and circulation issues, bananas can create a complex web of problems that actually worsen the very symptoms they're supposed to help. The most significant issue with bananas for adults over 50 is their extremely high potassium content combined with their relatively low magnesium content. One medium banana contains approximately 420 milligrams of potassium, but only about 34 milligrams of magnesium. This dramatic imbalance becomes problematic because potassium and magnesium work together in your body, particularly in muscle function and nerve transmission. When you consume high amounts of potassium without adequate magnesium, you can actually worsen existing magnesium deficiency, which is already common in adults over 50 due to decreased absorption, medication interactions, and dietary factors. Magnesium deficiency directly contributes to the leg problems that plague many adults over 50. Without adequate magnesium, your leg muscles can't relax properly after contracting, leading to persistent muscle tension, cramping, and that uncomfortable, restless feeling in your legs, especially at night. Your calf muscles might feel tight and knotted, your feet might cramp unexpectedly, and you might experience that annoying sensation of needing to constantly move your legs to find relief. The sugar content in bananas presents another significant challenge for leg health after 50. One medium banana contains about 17 grams of sugar, and while this is natural fruit sugar, your body processes it the same way it processes any other sugar. For adults over 50 whose insulin sensitivity has naturally decreased, this sugar can cause blood glucose spikes that directly impact circulation to your legs. When blood sugar rises rapidly, your blood vessels constrict, reducing the efficient flow of oxygen-rich blood to your leg muscles. This circulation reduction might not cause immediate pain, but over time, it contributes to that chronic, tired, heavy feeling in your legs that makes simple activities like grocery shopping or walking around the block feel exhausting. Your muscles aren't receiving adequate oxygen and nutrients, so they fatigue more quickly and recover more slowly. The stairs that you used to climb without thinking twice now leave you feeling winded and weak. The timing of banana consumption often compounds these problems. Many adults over 50 eat bananas as a quick breakfast or morning snack, often on an empty stomach. This timing maximizes the blood sugar spike because there's no other food to slow the sugar absorption. Starting your day with a blood sugar roller coaster can set you up for energy crashes, increased cravings, and poor circulation that affects your legs throughout the entire day. Bananas also contain compounds called amines, including serotonin and dopamine precursors. While these might sound beneficial, for some adults over 50, particularly those taking medications for depression, blood pressure, or other conditions, these natural compounds can interact with medications or exacerbate existing health conditions in ways that indirectly affect leg health and mobility. Mangoes, the tropical inflammation trigger. Mangoes are often considered an exotic, nutritious treat packed with vitamins A and C, fiber, and antioxidants. They're sweet, satisfying, and seem like a healthy alternative to processed desserts. However, for adults over 50 dealing with leg pain, muscle weakness, and circulation problems, mangoes can be one of the most inflammatory fruits in your diet, particularly when they're overripe or consumed in large quantities. The sugar content in mangoes is exceptionally high, with 1 cup of sliced mango containing approximately 22 grams of sugar, primarily in the form of fructose. This high fructose load is particularly problematic for adults over 50 because fructose metabolism becomes less efficient with age. When your liver can't process fructose effectively, it gets converted to fat, particularly inflammatory visceral fat that produces compounds directly linked to muscle pain and reduced mobility. The inflammatory response triggered by high fructose consumption can manifest in your legs as increased joint stiffness, muscle aches, and that general feeling of discomfort that makes movement less appealing. Your knees might feel stiffer in the morning, your ankles might ache after standing, and you might notice increased pain in your calves or thighs without any obvious cause. Mangoes also contain natural compounds called salicylates, which are similar to aspirin, but in much smaller amounts. While salicylates can have anti-inflammatory effects in therapeutic doses, for some adults over 50, particularly those who are sensitive to these compounds or taking blood-thinning medications, regular mango consumption can cause unpredictable effects on circulation and blood clotting. This can manifest as increased bruising, particularly in your legs, or changes in how your legs feel after physical activity. The ripeness of mangoes significantly affects their impact on your body. Overripe mangoes contain higher concentrations of sugar and lower amounts of beneficial fiber, creating an even more dramatic blood sugar spike when consumed. Many adults over 50 prefer very ripe, soft mangoes because they're easier to chew and digest. But these are exactly the mangoes that cause the most problems for leg health and circulation. Dried fruits. The concentrated threat. Dried fruits deserve special attention because they're often considered a healthy, convenient snack option for adults over 50. They're portable, have a long shelf life, and seem like a natural alternative to candy or processed snacks. However, dried fruits are among the most problematic foods for adults over 50, dealing with leg pain and circulation issues, because the drying process concentrates not only the nutrients, but also the sugars, creating a product that can wreak havoc on your blood sugar, circulation, and leg health. When fruit is dried, the water content is removed, but all the sugar remains, creating an incredibly concentrated source of fructose and glucose. A quarter cup of dried dates contains approximately 28 grams of sugar, while the same amount of raisins contains about 24 grams. This is more sugar than many candy bars, but because it's natural fruit sugar, people often consume it without considering the impact on their health. For adults over 50, this concentrated sugar creates immediate and long-term problems for leg health. The rapid blood sugar spike caused by dried fruit consumption triggers inflammation throughout your body, but particularly in your legs, which are already vulnerable due to age-related changes in circulation. This inflammation can manifest as increased joint pain, muscle stiffness, and that heavy, tired feeling that makes physical activity uncomfortable. The lack of water in dried fruits also contributes to dehydration, which directly impacts circulation and muscle function. Your legs need adequate hydration to maintain proper blood flow, muscle flexibility, and joint lubrication. When you consume dried fruits regularly, you're not only flooding your system with sugar, but also contributing to the dehydration that makes your legs feel stiff, weak, and prone to cramping. What to eat instead for stronger, pain-free legs? Now that you understand which fruits are sabotaging your leg health, let's focus on what you should be eating instead. The key is choosing foods that support circulation, reduce inflammation, and provide the nutrients your legs need to stay strong and pain-free. Berries are your best fruit choice for leg health after 50. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries are low in sugar, but high in antioxidants that specifically support circulation and reduce inflammation in your legs. The anthocyanins in berries help strengthen blood vessel walls and improve blood flow to your extremities. Avocados, technically a fruit, are exceptional for leg health because they provide healthy fats that reduce inflammation, potassium for muscle function, and magnesium to balance electrolytes. The healthy fats in avocados also help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins that are crucial for muscle and bone health. Green apples with the skin on provide fiber that slows sugar absorption while delivering nutrients that support circulation. The pectin in apple skin helps regulate blood sugar and reduces inflammation throughout your body. If you've made it this far in this video, you're clearly serious about improving your leg health and reducing the pain and weakness that's been holding you back. That tells me you're ready to take action, and I want to be part of your journey towards stronger, pain-free legs. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of people over 50 who are taking control of their health and refusing to accept that leg pain and weakness are just part of getting older. I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Have you been eating any of these problematic fruits regularly? Have you noticed improvements in your leg pain or energy levels after making dietary changes? Share your experiences with our community because your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to take their first step toward better leg health. And if this video has taught you something new about the connection between diet and leg pain, let me know what surprised you most. Your engagement helps me create more content that addresses the real challenges you're facing, and together we can help more people over 50 reclaim their mobility and live the active, confident life they deserve.